Hey, welcome to the channel. Today I'm about to react to Film Theory. Spider-Man, we know this is about No Way Home, Spider-Man Save No One, Spider-Man 3 theories, which I guess like there's a couple questions and a couple of theories. Some say Ned might be the new Hobgoblin because of the Spider-Man betrayal and so because of blah blah blah. Erase my memory. You promised that blah blah blah. You would let us be, but you know all of that. What else? Venom symbiote and bullshit. That's kind of an obvious one. Somehow Miles is gonna get into the picture. A lot of theories. A lot of theories popped in after the movie. Overall, I enjoyed the movie. That shit was fire. Sometimes I don't get people who be like, "Hey yo, stop spoiling the movie," but they're watching clips of the movie which don't make sense. But maybe it's just for the humor and all of that. But yeah, with that said, the fuck was that? Let's just continue. I don't know. Let's just start.
Okay, let's be real. Spider-Man No Way Home was a blast. If nothing else, you have to admire a movie that brought together three separate franchises spanning 20 years. Sure, Endgame was impressive and all, but that was always
Yeah.
the, it was always the end.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, like from the first, it was destined to happen. Like from the first the Avengers movie, where you see Thanos just chilling there, like on the chair. So it's like, yeah, we expected that. We hope for it. We expected that like one day they'd fight Thanos. He was the big bad. But yeah, we not much was we wanted this, but we didn't think this would happen. That's the difference between the
Game
two.
for the MCU from the very beginning. But here, no one could have seen
Exactly.
this one
Like we
coming. Just
wanted this.
absolutely so much fun. Which means that now we have to rip this thing to shreds because that ending, man, we have got to talk about it. Well, the movie was great and all. Peter Parker's final wish left me with a lot of questions. And it seems like I'm not the only one.
I mean, does the guy have a birth certificate? A social security card? What happens with all the videos and news reports about him being
Yeah, I've
Spider-Man?
also
So,
heard
what
these.
did old Tommy Holland actually wish for in the final moments of the movie? And what does that actually translate to based on every clue that we see in the film's final moments? And more importantly, what does it mean for the future of this character and this franchise? That, my friends, is what I'm aiming to answer today. Hello, Internet!
Welcome to Film Theory.
Where I use my Peter Tingle each and every week to spot and solve lore mysteries. Obviously, get your minds out of the gutter, guys. Okay, so Spider-Man No Way Home really
Wonderful
needs no
scroll.
introduction at this point. It seems like everyone in the world has seen this thing. Probably has, actually, considering
Yeah.
that it had the #2 opening weekend of all time
Oh.
of any movie ever. That is
Oh.
insane. In fact, it only took that one single weekend to make it the highest grossing movie of 2021.
Oh shit, bro! It's getting all the awards just like that, bro. It's getting those awards
Weekend
just
of
like
all
that.
time of any movie
Y'all
ever.
had a whole year to stack up them views and shit, but that just needed one weekend to. Oh come on.
That is insane.
'Cause we
In
all
fact,
wanted
it only
to
took
see
that
them
one
three.
single weekend to make it the highest grossing movie of
Oh,
2021.
family.
After a year where theaters were really struggling to find their footing, the old webhead proved that people were willing to come back, provided
Exactly.
you have a huge IP, pay off one of cinema's biggest cliffhangers, and tap into 20 years of built-up nostalgia.
Yeah.
No biggie. But this movie really does have it all. Lots of bad guys come together, Tobey Maguire getting his back cracked,
Yeah.
great power, great responsibility, all that stuff.
Sadly.
Really solid across the board. But gotta be honest here, anytime you tamper with the multiverse, you're gonna be getting some questions from lore nerds like me, and this movie leaves open some big ones. Questions that I aim to definitively answer today. Or, as definitive as I can until they retcon something to fit the ongoing narrative that they're looking to tell. First and foremost, why are we only seeing the villains? As a reminder, the entire premise of the movie kicks off when Peter Parker asks Doctor
Yes.
Strange to cast a spell that makes
Everyone
everyone forget
forget
that
that.
he's Spider-Man. After Peter tampers with the spell one too many times, it breaks the fabric of reality, opening the door for villains like Lizard and
Dr. Otto
Octavius.
to come through from other universes because, as the movie tells us, they knew the Spider-Man Peter
Yes,
Parker
not every villain came because, like I said, a few managed to get it, but
connection. At least most of them did, prompting our first major discussion here.
Hmm.
Electro is a bit hazy on this
Yeah.
point, since in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Max Dillon never explicitly makes the Peter Parker Spider-Man connection. In fact,
Yeah.
it seems like No Way Home
Wait, but
acknowledged
I thought I saw somewhere where they're like, before this nigga, something happened before this dude, like something happened. He heard the name Peter, but he wouldn't have known that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. Maybe Wow, why did I say like that? He wouldn't have known that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. He just heard the Peter, but he didn't hear the Parker. I have no idea.
Is this. There's even a joke about it where Electro, upon seeing Andrew Garfield's face at the end of the movie, says that he'd assumed that Peter Parker was going to be black the entire time.
Yeah.
So, is that just the writers being sloppy so they can fit in a Miles Morales joke? Or are they actually playing some level of 4D chess that we mere nerds aren't privy to? Well, there are two possible ways to explain Electro's presence, both of which require a fair amount of squinting to make work. First, we hear in No Way Home that Electro was, and this is a direct quote from the movie that I can't play for obvious reasons, he was stuck in the grid absorbing data before his memory disappears and he dies. Now, this isn't exactly true if you go back to the source material. Electro was actually in a power grid, specifically a hydroelectric power grid. And, I know science wasn't your strongest suit, Hollywood, so this might come as a shock to you, but electricity is different than the internet.
Yeah.
I know, I was just as blown
It's
away
kind
as
of
you are.
obvious,
But I
bro.
guess if you're assuming that he's absorbing electricity and internet in this scene, then you could say that Max got the info through accessing Peter's online data. Maybe. Like I said, it's a pretty weak sauce explanation. The other angle here, and this is the one that I think is canonical to the story and also works
it's a
with the whole
different
I Follow
Max.
Me Black joke, is that Max does know Spider-Man's name is Peter, he just doesn't know his face. In the final fight, Electro is knocked unconscious after playing the itsy bitsy spider on the power grid.
I remember
because
that.
This movie just makes all the worst decisions. Gwen Stacy arrives and calls out to Peter, at which point we smash cut to Electro becoming alert and ready to attack again.
When I say you turn that power on, you turn it on, no matter what. Peter.
So that definitely explains how Electro knows that Spider-Man's name
Name
is
is
Peter,
Peter, but
I think that
Parker-
there's still a missing piece here. And
Parker?
that's Peter's best friend,
Harry
Harry,
Osborn,
who
there you
breaks
go.
Electro out of captivity to help him take care of Spider-Man.
I'm Harry Osborn. I want to make you a deal. You want Spider-Man, and I can give him to you.
At this point in the movie, Harry knows that Peter and Spider-Man share some sort of connection.
You took his picture. You know him.
Harry most likely tells all of this to Electro after he breaks him out. So when Max hears the name Peter from Gwen, he's able to make that final connection to
fair,
Peter Parker,
okay.
Harry's friend that
Fair,
he was told about.
okay.
Oh boy, there you go, screenwriters. I saved your butts on that one. Something tells me that no one really intended all of that.
Yeah, I never
but
even
it
thought
does
of that.
manage to work out when you read between the lines. Anyway, putting Electro aside, I'm more interested in the bigger question: why only the villains? Why don't
Yeah,
we see
plots.
anyone else come through here, like girlfriends or best friends? In the Sam Raimi trilogy,
Yeah, I wanted Harry to pull up, and then like Loki, it's like I didn't expect him to. It's like it was okay that he wasn't there, but just I felt like I wanted them to throw in a couple more, characters just for the nostalgia. But then again, we can't take all the attention away from Tom Holland's Spider-Man because it's still his movie and ish. But yeah, it's just like I enjoyed the
Mary
callbacks.
Jane knows Peter's identity all too well.
Go get him, Tiger.
And in The Amazing Spider-Man, Gwen Stacy treats it like it's the most casual thing in the world.
Consider coming in through the lobby.
The best friends in these movies also tend to know. The Harry Osborns from both universes know Peter's secret.
First we'll see who's behind the mask. Peter.
So, was this just a decision made
That was
out of
a weird one,
convenience,
bro.
or is there an actual in-universe explanation for it? Well, believe it or not, but this one actually lines up pretty well with the lore.
Okay.
I don't know, again, if this was intentional or not, but as Doctor Strange prepares his magic, Peter requests that his girlfriend, his best friend, and Aunt May all get exempted from the spell.
So MJ's gonna forget about everything we've ever been through? Oh my God, Ned. Oh, my Aunt May should really stop talking.
And so Strange removes them from the magic to try and meet
Oh.
Peter's request. However, when the whole thing goes haywire and people who knew Peter's identity start crossing over, those people are still eliminated. As such, all the girlfriends, best friends, and aunts aren't included and therefore don't cross over into the MCU. Was it intentional? No, probably not. Is it a cool
Yeah,
coincidence that
probably.
helps explain the rationale for that part of the movie? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
One of the other things
This is
the
why I
movie
love
just
Screen Rant, even though some things may not be intentional. Probably, I don't know, I doubt they are. But he finds a way to make it seem like it is, so technically he's still saving the writers, blah,
kind
blah,
of
blah,
glosses over that I thought was interesting to think about was the implication of curing all of these characters.
Yeah,
the whole
I thought it was
second
gonna
act of the
kill
movie
him,
is
bro.
Peter sacrificing and losing everything, including Aunt May, to try and cure these villains, working under the assumption that he's saving their lives and giving them a second chance in their own universes. Except, nope, that is decidedly not true. The Sandman doesn't die in his movie, so kind of a lost cause there.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Lizard, who already is transformed back into a
Yeah.
human by the end of his movie. So redundancy is redundant. That leaves Electro and Green Goblin, neither of whom want to be cured, which opens a big old can of ethical worms about forcing a cure on individuals that don't want to be cured.
Yeah,
But worst of
true.
all, perhaps, is the situation.
Yeah, I
where-
even thought of that during the movie. I was like, okay, not the Green Goblin part, but the Electro part. he was like, bro, he wants power, bro. He just wanna live, but you're just forcing this cure on them, bro. That kind of low-key sound familiar.
And Green Goblin, neither of whom want to be cured, which opens a big old can of ethical worms about forcing a cure on individuals that don't want to be cured. But worst of all, perhaps, is the situation for Doc Ock, who, if you actually look back at the original
Yeah, I
movie,
remember
wouldn't
this.
be saved at all. In No Way Home, he says that he's portaled over into Tom Holland's reality in the middle of a battle against Spider-Man. Specifically,
When
he
he was
says,
strangling.
quote, Spider-Man was trying to stop my fusion reactor, so I stopped him. I had him by
By
the
the
throat,
throat, and
then I was
then-
here. One teeny tiny problem with that. By the time Doc Ock has Spider-Man by the throat in Spider-Man 2, his fusion reactor is already seconds away from exploding. It
Exactly.
is far beyond the point of saving. The good doctor himself is mere seconds away from his own redemption at this point.
Listen to me now.
Seriously, Doc Ock already makes the decision to turn good and sacrifice himself.
But they
so
took
Tom
him out of
Holland's
it.
help with a fixed neural implant here also amounts to just a meaningless gesture for
Yeah,
something that's gonna happen anyway.
true.
In short, this whole movie was extraneous because you either don't change any
But
character's outcome.
don't you think he would have like, nah, but he took himself down. He sacrificed himself. He had the power of the sun in the palm of his hands, or in the claw of his machines, or whatever. But I don't know. Could he have helped? Nah, but MJ was there. Spider-Man had to get MJ out of there.
Or you just cure people who don't want to be cured in the first place. Sorry about your sacrifice, Aunt May. Doesn't look like it did much good, but
Ooh.
hey, at least you got to say the iconic line. But now, the big one, the ending wish. At the end of the movie, the Green Goblin uses a pumpkin bomb to destroy the Deus Vox Machina, causing reality to shred and even more entities to try and cross over into Tom Holland's universe.
Okay.
Doctor Strange tries to repair the rift, but it's just too much. He can't contain it. So with no other option, Peter makes one final sacrifice. He asks Strange to make the world forget about Peter Parker. Now, I've rewatched this scene a couple of times, and this is exactly how it's transcribed.
They're here because of you.
What if everyone forgot who I was? They're coming here because of me, right? Because I'm Peter Parker. So cast a new spell. But this time, make everyone forget who Peter Parker is. Make everyone forget me.
That would mean everyone who knows and loves you would have no memory of you. It would be as though you never existed.
And it works. The rift gets repaired and the world no longer knows the identity of Spider-Man. Hooray! But it comes at the cost of MJ, Ned, Happy, and all the others having no clue who Peter is. So it's just a simple memory wipe spell, right? What's so complicated
It's
to
so
understand about
complicated,
that?
bro.
If only it were that simple.
It's
As
just-
Peter and Disney are more than happy to remind us of repeatedly throughout the movie, Peter is the most famous person in the world at this point because Mysterio outed him as the identity
Yeah.
of Spider-Man. And he did this in the form of a video. Did that video get wiped away by the spell? Sure, let's assume that it was. But then, what about all the other physical evidence
Yeah.
of Peter Parker? Before the big climax, Peter takes a selfie video that gets broadcast out to the world. Does that disappear too? Or his text messages to
Do
MJ
they
or
disappear,
Flash's
though?
book? Are those all just gone? What about his application to MIT? The simple answer here would be that the spell dusted all of those things too. All physical traces of Peter Parker just poof away. Like Doctor
Okay.
Strange said, it'll be as though you never existed. Except yet again, it's not that clear cut. We see in the final scenes of the movie that MJ is wearing the broken black dahlia necklace that
Yeah.
Peter gave her in the previous movie. In addition, we learn that both Ned and MJ have gotten into MIT, something that Peter had a direct hand
Exactly.
in earlier in the film. So it seems like his physical actions have had some sort of memory on the world, even if the world doesn't necessarily remember him. So maybe
Okay.
Peter's just gone then, right? Everything he
So
touched
he's just
altered up that
is he
point.
just gonna be like a blur or some shit? Like he's just, you don't know how it happened, but you know it happened because of someone or something, but you just don't remember that person.
Days, but anything with the name Peter Parker on it's just dusted away. Not again. On one hand, we see Peter studying for his GEDs. For those of you who don't know, the GED here in the US is a test that allows you to show that you have high school level skills. By taking it and passing it functions pretty much
But
the same
no
way
one
as a diploma.
remembers
So the
you.
fact that he's taking it implies either A, that his academic record has been erased as part of the spell, or B, he isn't returning to finish the school year. Again, most likely because he no longer has a student record. But on the other hand, we see Peter get himself an apartment. This implies that he has to have himself some level of an identity, as well as a fairly decent credit score. As anyone who's ever tried to get an apartment can tell you, you need a social security number and a history of income to be able to lease from a landlord. So a lot of conflicting information there. But of all the conflicting evidence we have, none perhaps is as confusing as his interactions with Happy at Aunt May's
yeah.
grave. When Peter asks how he knew her,
said
Happy
through
replies,
Spider-Man,
"Through Spider-Man." So, Happy knows Spider-Man, but again, not Peter Parker. How could that possibly make any sense? Because Happy knows May not via Spider-Man, but because Spider-Man is connected to Peter Parker. Without the link of Peter Parker, there's no way for Happy to meet May. And yet, somehow, under the arbitrary
Exactly,
rules of
it's
the
just
spell,
though I
he
never
does
got that.
apparently know her. Which then prompts the question,
How?
does that mean MJ, under the memory spell, remembers being Spider-Man's girlfriend? Because again, she knows Spider-Man, but she doesn't know Peter? Same thing with Ned. Does he know that he's
Guy in the
Spider-Man's guy
chair.
in the chair? So taking all of the
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Oh, I'm sorry. I just my body just get weird when it get excited. Okay, that sound wrong. My body just like it's just like god damn, bruh. I didn't even think about that, you know?
evidence and questions into account, I think there's only one way to explain all of this. The spell doesn't erase Peter Parker from existence. It just erases people's memory of him, and along with that, erases any physical thing that would be considered or connected to a memory of him. But Peter's achievements, the aftermath of thing that he's explicitly done, those all remain. It's a difference of qualitative versus quantitative actions, which is pretty confusing, so let me explain with some
Thank you.
examples. Mysterio's video claiming that he's being attacked by Spider-Man, that still exists, because it was tied to an action that was being done by Spider-Man. But the part where he calls out Peter Parker, that now is gone, because it would be dependent on Mysterio knowing Peter Parker. Flash's
Okay.
book, gone, because again, it's based on Flash's relationship and memories with Peter Parker. Meanwhile, Peter's bank account and social security number, those would remain. Earning money and putting it into a bank, or being given a social security number, are physical acts that don't hinge on the memory or identity of Peter Parker. Just like
Okay.
giving a physical necklace to MJ. She has the necklace, but I would guess she doesn't remember where she got it from. Those actions exist separate from the identity
Okay, so
of
more or less the
Peter.
thing I was
Basically,
saying
when
earlier
people see his
on.
name, they'll just think of him as some random anonymous person, like we see MJ do in the coffee shop. So what then would this mean for the series? Well, if I'm right, it would mean that both MJ and Ned shouldn't remember their interactions with Spider-Man. To both of them, he was Peter Parker first, and when they're helping Spider-Man, they're really helping Peter. So all of those memories have got to go. Happy, meanwhile, is able to fall into the opposite bucket. His relationship with Peter started through the identity of Spider-Man, and while he certainly grew to love the boy behind the mask, the root of that relationship was the secret identity, thus allowing him to remember Aunt May and chalk those memories up to Spider-Man's influence. Likewise, Spider-Man should still be able to continue on
As
as
an
an Avenger,
Avenger,
but
but-
here, no one will know his real name, making the eventual reunion with the Guardians of the Galaxy real awkward.
Who are you? We're the Avengers, man.
But to me, what's probably most interesting about all this is how it relates to the Vulture. As you might recall, he's the biggest dangling threat in the series, the only one who knows Spider-Man's identity and who keeps getting teased as pulling together a Sinister Six.
It's not on you.
Hey yo, quick question. This is Voss, right? From Far Cry. This is Voss, right?
Our little spider friend? I've got some boys on the outside.
Yeah, this is Voss.
Love to meet him.
In fact, he's
Nah,
so
Scorpion.
important that he's being used to
Look, I know it's Scorpion, but I'm just saying like the actor. And Morbius, I can't wait for Morbius to be released.
It's not on you. It's on our little spider friend. I've got some boys on the outside who'd love to meet him.
In fact, he's so important that he's being used to market the upcoming
Yeah, I
Morbius
remember.
movie.
Yeah.
Dr. Mike, you and I should stay in touch.
Leaving many to question whether Morbius is now a part of the MCU, and Sony's response thus far has been yesn't. They're being real cagey about it, but
Yeah,
in
but
reality,
not, yeah.
no, he's not. This is all just a fake out. By the rules that we've just gone over, the Vulture wouldn't know Peter's secret identity. The scene in the car in Homecoming would be a forgotten memory. As such, all of the teases from both Morbius and Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies should ultimately amount to nothing. And moments in trailers like this are just more instances of movie studios pulling boners. That's a Ralph boner, for those of you who don't
Yeah,
get the
but
reference.
that's her, bro. You remember with Wanda and shit?
Ralph?
Boner?
Boner?
Yeah.
All of it fake outs to sell tickets. So there you have it, friends. No Way Home. A lot of seeming gaps in the plot that just squeak by getting solved if you look at them deep enough. Well done, screenwriters. You've escaped me this time. Which leaves us then with a single Spider-Man who has literally no history. What a nice clean slate to start a brand new trilogy on. One might call it a
Home Alone, Home Sweet Home, Spidey's Home. Come on, you gotta be more creative than that. You know, there's Homecoming, there's Far From Home, there's No Way Home. Start with, Home Alone. And then you say, Spidey's Nest. No. coming home. Run from home. There we go.
Reboot of sorts.
There we
Wait,
go.
who was it that predicted that? By whatever means, Wanda
Venom's
Maximoff snaps in
home.
during the post-credit scene to set us up for the multiverse of madness. The story is going to wrap up in such a way that while there can be a path forward for Tom Holland's Peter Parker, he can also be soft rebooted. I guess sometimes even a blind squirrel finds a nut. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory.
Wait, hold up.
And
What was that meme? What was that meme? I love No Way Home memes.
sometimes even a blind squirrel finds a nut. But hey, that's just a theory.
I just thought this. Yep. These were the expectations. Yo, Deadpool. Yo, I heard they were gonna reboot Deadpool. Oh shit, Spider-Man. I heard that they were gonna reboot Deadpool and cast him as a new guy. Fucking John Wick, Batman. Oh, Leg showed the suit, the new suit that they wanted. Yeah, Sinister 6 and all that. Who they set up? Is that fucking RoboCop? Is that Goku at the bottom there? Who is this, Loki? I can't really see correctly.
A film theory and cuts.
God damn, bruh. So overall, film theory opened my eyes to a lot of theories that I didn't really think about or didn't like have time to think about because I was just so focused on like what I can, the obvious shit, say a little on the subtle side, but like not truly looking into the obvious shit, because you be like, yeah, memory bullshit. But sometimes you gotta dive deeper in these kind of situations, because it's like the next movie, yes, it's a clean slate. But what's gonna happen? People want Ned to be the Hobgoblin or some shit. I'd say it's a little too soon for that. I'd say start with the Venom. Then the Venom does something to fucking reenact the memories, because Venom heals people, so maybe he might heal the memories. Flash Thompson, or remember, maybe he might, cause no, Flash, he was one of them. Ned, apparently in the comics he was the Hobgoblin, whatever. He might get the symbiote on him, and then his memories will get healed. Then he'll remember Peter and all of that, and then he might become the Hobgoblin or Venom. I don't know. Then he might feel betrayed and shit. I don't know. I feel like Venom should be introduced before the Hobgoblin, but Morbius is still in top. Oh! I'm sorry. I just realized, bro. They brought in Tobey Maguire. Like, he's just, I'm not saying he's back, but I'm saying like he's back, with No Way Home and all of that. And in the Morbius trailer, that Spider-Man was Tobey's Spider-Man. Wasn't Andrew's, but they did say they might make the Amazing Spider-Man 3 with Tobey's, and they might have Gwen Stacy. Nah, but Gwen Stacy died, but they might bring her back as the Spider-Gwen and shit, because they said in the comics he lost Gwen and Gwen lost Peter, and then they made, but then they said Catwoman might be there. Yo, they so, wow, bro. I can't wait. I have to see Multiverse of Madness, see how it affects. I don't know, bro. I'm really excited. But if you enjoyed the reaction, like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know which other video to check out. And with that said, I'm gonna see y'all later.